E te iwi tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou I roto I tēnei pō. Kia ora everybody, Che Wilson here from Te Pai Pai Waho, and it's a pretty cold Tuesday night here in Waikato. Hoi anō, before we get into things, I'll just open up with a karakia. Nā reira, kia karakia tātou. Mai a maranga wakarangona te rangi e tū nei, mai a maranga wakarangona te papea takoto nei. Mai are o ka tupu arangi, mai are o ka tupu arangi. Heu e nei ki te pau o tēnei, ware tū nei ko te pai pai waho. Turuturu o iti o ka maua kia tīna, hui e, tai ki e. Tai ki e, kia ora tātou. E mihi ana ki o tātou mate, e mihi ana ki a tātou te kaupapa tangata, e rapu nei e kimi nei, I tēnei mea kei te ngaro, tēnā koutou, kia ora tātou. As I said earlier, my name is Che Wilson, and tonight I'm doing part 2 in the ceremonies and rituals at home kōrero. And this kōrero going to focus specifically in on is around Matariki and Puanga. But before I get into that, just a few acknowledgements. I want to firstly acknowledge my mum, cousin Kahui, Pan, Christian, all of you, Auntie Mona, all of you that are having your birthdays today. Happy birthday. Yep, Mum's 81, doesn't look it at all. Looks pretty amazing actually. Hoi anō, hopefully I get some of her genes. Kāti, love you Mum, love you all. Hope you had a great night and hope you had a great dinner for those of you at home in Cooney. So, the purpose of this session is to focus in on ceremonies and rituals and making them part of our everyday life at home and not just waiting for there to be a kaumātua or for it to be done at the marae. But how do we make things just happen in our everyday lives? Kia horapa e re puta noi te ao, kia kaua kei tatari, kia uru atu ki roto I te warepuni kāore. Engari, kia orapa I o tātou no oanga, puta noi te motu, uri noi te ao. And so that's the focus. And last week I did a general overview, whereas this week, going to look at Matariki and Puanga. And where I come from, we acknowledge Puanga as the principal star that recognizes the change of the year. And though technically we would say ko Puanga te kai ruri te tau tauito, ko Matariki te kai uaki te tau o. Puanga draws the end of the year, or completes the end of the year, and Matariki opens up the new year. However, as a result of us being based on the Whanganui River traditionally during winter, where it's difficult to see Puanga because of the angles of the hills. Matariki, Puanga is the key focus. In addition to that, one thing that we do on the West Coast is some of the months of the year, in the autumn at least, instead of it being a star that's rising in the morning, we usually follow the stars that are setting in the afternoon. And so Maruaonui is the star that we're acknowledging at the moment, and as it sets, we acknowledge that we're getting ready to welcome the new year. Now, getting into things. How do we make this work at home? And each tohunga that I've spoken to has their own way of calculating things. And a simple way that I'm calculating it for Puanga, based on the phrase, kāhua ngā pua koia ko Puanga. So traditionally, we would wait until the kereru season is over, and then that break between that And when the piharo run, that is the season that is puanga. With climate change, that's changing quite a lot. So another easy way is as Maruaonui sets. So the rako nui of Haratua through to Tangaroa phases of Pipiri is when I would acknowledge the period that is known as Puanga. That's when I would acknowledge it. You'll hear Rangi Mātāmua talk about Matariki, and Matariki's just set. And Matariki will rise later on in the month, noting that our new month or our new year starts on Thursday night with the rising of Whiro. But he'll celebrate it later on in the Tangaroa. So what I encourage people to be doing is, how do you make things work for you at home? Other than karakia, many of us have Christmas decorations. So whether it's the rako nui of Haratua or whenever Matariki sets, that's your time to put some decorations, or at least some lights and stars. So our house has got all these lights on at the moment. Well, decoration lights up and stars. And we've even got some mobile stars that we made a few years ago that has Puanga and Matariki. And so they're up now, so that this whole period from Rako Nui of Haratua through to Tangaroa of Pipiri, that's my time where I am remembering, and people are walking going, oh, why are all your stars up? Okay, because it's Puanga, it's Matariki. So that's one way of making it work at home. And don't fall for the commercial rubbish and buy more stuff. Just use the stuff that you've already got from Christmas if you celebrate Christmas. The other thing I do is we have a little area where all of the tangis that we've been to, and we may have a pamphlet of the person. So we'll then put them on that little area so that we remember them during this time. All of those ones we've gathered throughout the year. And as we get nearer to when we do karakia, then I'll also acknowledge them and farewell them. And a lot of people don't know what to do with those. And so some will just leave them at the funeral, or some are just too scared to burn them. After I've done the ceremony, I get rid of them, unless I want to keep them. And I'm not trying to disrespect anybody, but because I go through a ceremony, that clears me and I don't feel bad like a lot of people go, oh, I just feel so bad about that. In addition, it's a time to set your goals. It's also a time to clear anything, sort anything out, set it to sleep so you can focus in on the new. Traditionally, we would be resting, and I put out a post last night. Pipiri te ata Maruaonui te ahiahi e tāna ngā rākau. And what that's about is that traditionally the trees are having a rest now. But with climate change and with this change of season, well, with the signs that said we're going to have a later winter, and therefore it's been warm up to now, that's confused the land. So trying to make things work for you at home, and some simple bite-sized ways to do things. And so you come to my house right now, there are stars, there's lights, all acknowledging this period. And then after Tangaroa and Pipiri, I'll pull everything down. And as we start to revive different things, we'll also have different festivals, different things at my house to make it easy. So it's not just about karakia, but it's about celebrating. And as people walk in, it's a point of kōrero. The other point is that we've had a massive, year and a bit since we went into lockdown. And so this Matariki, as per last as well, this Matariki in Puanga is your chance to have your big tangi and to send them on their way. So I just wanted to share a bit about that. And then with Matariki, go on to Living by the Stars, because Rangi's got some awesome information, and I don't need to say it again, just check that out. But for Puanga, from Rākau Nui through to Tangaroa and Pipiri is a great time to acknowledge the period that is Puanga, that is the new year, or the end of the old year, beginning of the new year. And then finally, once you get to Tangaroa, that's my son in the background watching his own stuff. Finally, once you get to Tangaroa, that's when you do your karakia to farewell the old, farewell those loved ones that have passed, so that they can become stars. And then if you have a hautapu, then do a hautapu as well, where you offer up kai to the atua and ask for abundance and blessings throughout the year. Katiake, just one point, because I do get a few questions around ashes. It's important to let your mate rest and to put the ashes, inter them, to inter the ashes. Because if you keep carrying them with you, you aren't letting that person go. And so it's really important to do that. And if this is the right time to do it, tukua kia moe, kia oki oki, kia putano tātou ki te ao marama, to help us move into the world of the living. So Katiake, I'll be on the road next week. Can't remember where I'll be screening from, but I'll give a kōrero from on the road. And I want to acknowledge everybody. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou. Going to hang up the kōrero for tonight with a little karakia. Happy birthday again, Mum. Tēnā koutou. Unu ia te tau roa te rangi kia tīnā kia oe, nā kia toke ta manawa ora. Manawa ora ki te pua, manawa ora ki ta uito. Manawa ora ka puta ki te wai au ki te ao marama. Turuturo i te waka maua kia tīnā, hui e, tai ki e. Enjoy haka tū, haka ora, back home in Aotea this weekend. Tēnā koutou, kia ora tātou.